you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. My hair, yeah, I'm a mess right now, but I wanted to come on camera. It's been a while. Plus, I'm in an old spot. If you've been with me for a while, you might remember me filming here. Like, oh my gosh, it brings me back. But thank you guys for being here. I just wanted to say hello. Really, my internet is not good enough to stay on camera and show video and photo, which is what I want to do tonight. So, hello. Thank you to Melissa for sending her for the jade raid. I appreciate that. And thank all of you guys for being here. I am not trying to hypnotize you, but with all of Leilani's lies, I'm telling you, like, I don't know. I just thought it was fitting. They are spinning out of control, and I want to talk about it with you guys. So we're going to talk about day 2 of her trial today. And, we didn't get any witnesses that were personal friends and family yet. However, we did learn a lot, and we went through several investigators and back around, some were on more than others. Detective Lemons was on quite a lot. She left the stand for a couple FBI agents to talk for a moment. We're going to walk through it. I want to show you a couple videos. So we went through 2 video interviews today, but we also got to hear her written statement. And then one of the most interesting parts was a part when she wasn't actually being interviewed. She's just making small talk with some of the other officers. So I can't wait to go through all of that with you guys. But let me say hello to you first, and then we'll get right to it. Hey, Danielle. Leilani is the poster child for a crackhead liar who keeps trying to sell you his car that's in the shop that no one has seen in 3 years. I wasn't expecting that when I started reading it, but thank you for making me laugh. Hey, Claus. So also, for those of you who don't know, one of our friends here, Claus, is going in person. So, this case has meant a lot to her. It happened in her hometown, basically. And she's going in person, and she did tell me something interesting. So I haven't got to talk to her today, but I did talk just for a second through Messenger, but I talked to her yesterday after, and she said, it's crazy because she believes Leilani is very aware of the cameras when they're on her, that kind of thing, because when they're not, she's laughing with her attorneys, talking, but when they are on her, she's very stoic and emotionless. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, thank you for being here, Claus, and I hope you're doing okay. I know it's a lot for us watching at home. I can't imagine being there in person. It would just be even more. I saw Claus in the courtroom today. Hey, that girl. Good to see you. It's been a minute. I'm happy to see you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, apparently laughing with her attorneys and stuff, wiping a dry face. Hey, Mayla's mom. Hey, Avery. Hey, Neat Noodle. Miss Melissa. Truth Matters. Kathy. MK. Rando. All of you guys. Thank you for being here. Hey, Tess. Angela. So I do also another thing is regarding Claus going, hey, Kathy. Hey, Amber. So a few of us here, me, some of the mods here, some of the viewers have tried to help her as far as with gas money, food, parking, all of that costs money. And she was hit with a hurricane just before this, which took away from some of her money that she had put away for the trial. So if anybody does want to help, I've just been sending it to her on Facebook. I can connect you with her. You can reach out to me, whatever. If you want to help, let me know. You can email me. It's on the screen. I'm on the banner. Hey, Natasha. Lynn. Hey, Remy. I'm looking forward to these updates. I'm looking forward to going over it with you. It's like, oh my gosh, though, after the whole day, thank God that I take notes because I don't know how I would go back to what we learned at the beginning of the day because it's so much all day long. Hey, Teacup. Hey, B. Just listening mostly tonight. It's been a lay Lulu all day for me and bath now. That's what I was doing listening to Melissa, banging myself up. Got stung by a bee today. The reason I'm streaming at Mom's, I didn't want us to be interrupted. So, okay. So the first person who testified, actually, let me pull up this article. that B Crumb sent me. The first person who testified, though, was from the Chatham County crime scene unit. And I came like 5 minutes late, and so I missed their name. The local news is also doing updates, WSAV. I'm just going to search it. We're going to pull that up as we go through. So they start going over photos of the house, the layout, and I've got some how it's an interesting path through the house. It's kind of like a maze. He does say there was 475 photos. Something interesting that Shay caught. So I guess Jen, because like I said, I was just a couple minutes late. So I think Jen must have said something like there was, apparently I'm roboting. Am I better now? I don't know what to do. Here, I'll change the background, but let me know if I'm better. Okay. I don't know why it does that. Like for a few seconds, it works like a charm. Every time Melissa tells me that I'm losing signal on the phone, it all of a sudden just starts working again. But so someone from Chatham, I got to train myself, County Crime Scene Unit, was on the stand first today, and he was going over photos of the house and the layout. He, like I had said, I don't know if you guys heard me, it kind of looks like a maze. But there was something interesting that happened. So I guess Jen mentioned something about like a glitch, something that caught Shay's attention. So because of this, Shay goes to Law and Crime because Jen's streaming court TV, and she catches something that was cut out. It's like a little five-minute clip where the man mentions initially they thought there was blood on the pillow. I'm not sure why that was cut out. And later in his testimony, you know, he goes into saying it was, I don't believe it was even tested for blood. They thought it was vomit. We do know there was testing done for apparent vomit. Hold on. I have the clip here, but it's honestly almost irrelevant because it didn't end up being that. But I guess initially they thought that it could have been blood, so they took photos of the playpen before any of the other photos. Let me... Okay, so this is what I mean by a maze. The front door, he says, is not actually the front door. This is actually the window. The door is over to the right. You have to like go through this room to go through through a bathroom, to go through here, to go up through the kitchen, down this hallway. Like there's no straight hallway through where you can, it's an interesting layout. Let's see here. He also shows other photos, something that Shay pointed out to us, which was by the car, this Mickey Mouse doll that Quentin apparently went to sleep with was on the ground out there. We learned something else, and I don't know. Was this with him? Let me see where it's at in my notes. Yesterday, we talked about... or maybe everything's starting to run together in my mind. First, we see these photos of the back of the car and all of this powder. Apparently, that is baby cereal, is what Leilani says. As he's going through the house and, you know, all the photos of the house, he notes that there's Ambisol in the bathroom. So that whole Oragel story, it makes no sense considering there was... Hey, unsupervised maniacs, indeed, considering there was stuff to numb your mouth in the bathroom. Not only that, you don't typically put Oragel or something like that on a tooth that's just been pulled on an open, you know, hole there. Hey, lunch lady, thank you for being a member for 14 months. Allie, my favorite true crime channel forever. Aw, you are so sweet, and thank you for that so much. Hey, Grandma Sherry. Hey, anybody that I missed, by the way. Amber, thank you for being a member for 8 months. So He talks about he's the one who obtains the footage from Chevron on October the 7th. He saw the car drive by the Chevron and go to the mobile home plaza. He also obtained footage from the mobile home plaza, Azalea. It's interesting because the timestamp is incorrect. I'm sure the defense is going to, any little thing like that, that's really the only thing they're questioning, which is kind of interesting. But the timestamp on the cameras at the mobile home park does not line up with the actual time. But they did use phones to mark the difference. That's what the defense got up, like I said, and asked about, did you get to the bottom of the time discrepancies? But they haven't had a whole lot of questions. Let's see. We'll just go to the article. I'll read through my notes. It's going to kind of be back and forth. That's okay. I think it will be fun. It still makes sense. Then we get on to Detective Lemons. Now, she's the one who was on for most of the day. She's the one who was part of with an agent. These two interviews with Leilani that we watched were both about an hour long. It's interesting because, in one of the interviews, as soon as we start watching it, she immediately kind of starts throwing her mom and goes, oh, it's been so hard, I've been through so much. And she did. And this is why I put that on a thumbnail. Because, certain subjects, if they ask certain questions, Leilani will have to have this emotional breakdown, right? She will try to get around answering. They have to wait for her. Oh, breaking up again. Let me try something. Did that work? I'm sorry. I just expected to do it at this point. Yeah, Melissa, work your magic. Can you guys hear me now? I am so sorry. This is so frustrating. I'm hoping that it just starts working again because I don't even know why. I click audio and select echo cancellation. Well, I have Starlink on the way, but it's really crazy because I have 3 different kinds of internet here and they all do it. There's really no way around it. Okay. Sorry. When it goes out, I'll just wait a second and we'll continue. Like I said, there's really no way around it. I did, Grandma Sherry. I'm just going to change to regular background. Okay. So back to the interview. Immediately, kind of talking bad about her mom. And this got me thinking, how long had she had custody? Which it comes up right after I thought about this. It comes up in the interview. Billy Joe had custody of the 2 oldest for not even a year yet. And I also have an article we can look at on this. Billy Joe was supposed to be gone. I'm curious how you guys feel about this because we're going to watch some of these interviews. But first, let me just talk to you about a couple things. So, she wasn't there all the time. When she left, she was going to be gone for a couple weeks. She was supposed to be gone for 3 weeks on this particular time. She was in Illinois as a welder. It's interesting, but when she was gone, her husband's there, Danny's there, Paul, there's other people there, but I don't know. I don't know. That doesn't actually sit super well with me. Awesome, Pointer Lover. I don't know, you guys. I am so sorry, though. I really do apologize. Hey, Selena. So, okay, this is the next clip I'm going to play before we play parts of the interview. She gets asked about any strange people that come to the house, and Leilani really tries to focus on this white male. Hold on. There's Leilani today, by the way, you guys. This man that comes to the door and asks and says, God told me to come tell you, bless you and your kids. She said, then he came back, and the officer's like, you answer the door at 1 a.m. And she's like, well, I didn't open the door this time. I asked if he needed help, and he said no. Then he had just recently came back again. A lot of that first interview focused on Danny and Paul. They kept asking, is there any chance Danny could have done this? I don't know why my pictures of that didn't load, but I'll pull them up while we're listening to a couple. I want to listen to her written statement and a couple other parts, so I'll grab those. I have questions about the testing. I guess we still have to wait. We haven't seen every witness, and they're probably going to wait for some of that. There was alcohol in the car. I saved a bunch of other ones she sent, but they haven't came through. Let's go back to this one. Okay, so like I said, those first couple interviews, they did focus a lot on if it's possible Danny could have been involved, if he was acting different. They looked at his Life 360. Leilani offered to give Danny's boss's number. Paul, it was asked how, Leilani said when they stayed upstairs, you couldn't hear anything. Someone could be down there banging on the door and you could not hear it. So we have that first interview. Then we have a special agent, so Detective Lemons leaves the stand, and then a special agent comes up for just a moment. She had a very impressive background. She had a law degree. She worked with Homeland Security. And what she did on the case was basically just locate Quentin's dad, Henry Bubba Moss, interviewed him and his girlfriend and his boss. They did do some DNA swabs of him. They also came back later for testing of a fingernail and some hair, which was interesting. But remember, Leilani's first story, her first little bit of bullshit is that it involves him trying to point the finger at him. Eventually it spins out to pointing the finger at Danny. It's just lie after lie. It's just like what we talked about yesterday. Hold on, this chick. Melissa Missy Bray, who Leilani supposedly went and got Oragel from. Her name's not Misty, but Leilani calls her Misty. We don't even get the truth of her name. And then when she was confronted about that, it was, I tried to talk to her. I was going to get Oragel from her, but then I just found Oragel in my car. The weird laugh she's doing. Oh my God, boo sheet. Oh, I can't stand it either. She is a waste of a person. I'm sure her family loves her because you just do, but she is awful. I agree, that girl. So then we have another FBI agent who comes up on the stand, Brian Osden, and the woman, her name was Farah Rajabi. Then Brian Osden, and he was a witness for some of that stuff with Farah, but he also worked some on a few other things, including the recovery process. So then Lemons gets back on the stand. Now, remember, Leilani does this written statement we're going to hear, but also this was interesting. So the most, this part stood out to me more than any other, and I did pull up where I have the. Let's start with the statements, and that's where we have it pulled up. And then we'll get into what she said to not in her interview, just to these officers about her anger, and it was scary listening to her. She's a smooth person. Thank you, Wolfie. I appreciate that. It was scary listening to her describe her anger. She's like, I become another person. I walk different. I talk different. Here we go. I saw it that time. I saw it that time. I'm not sure if it's back yet. Just a brief pause. Let me know when I'm back. Thank you, Wolfie. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so annoyed. I should have just stayed at my house, but I really thought, because my dad's internet came back on today. So I was like, please, it will work. Am I back? Okay, thank you, Tess. I am so sorry. I can turn off the scroll, but we're going to watch a video, so I'm hoping that it works. If not, I'm just going to take about 2 minutes and switch internet. She was beautiful. I agree. She is nice on the eyes. And yeah, I think that she did a good job. I mean, I saw a picture of her on Twitter during the interview, and her body language. They were like, she's feeling how we're all feeling. It's okay now. All right. So if it robots, we're going to take just a moment, and I'm going to switch internet. I'm just going to walk over to my house because it won't do that as often. But I was really trying to not have interruptions. Okay. Hold on one second. Let's listen to the written statement first.
My fiance and I picked up the kids from the babysitter, Michelle McCarta, around 4:30 p.m. When we got home, I started cooking dinner. I was cooking the sausage and the hamburger meat for the spaghetti while Daniel, my fiance, was getting the kids settled down and cleaning the room. After we ate, I put Zane, Quentin, and Sky in the bath to start getting ready for bed. I then took them all out of the bath, dried them off, put pajamas on them, and gave Zane and Quentin both a cup and their tablets. It was probably around 8 p.m. I decided to put a movie on and played with my kids for about an hour and a half. So no, it's about 9:30 p.m. and I just laid Quentin in bed with his cup and Mickey Mouse stuffed animal. I gave him his tablet to help him lay down and started to relax for the night. After I laid Zane down with his cup and tablet, Quentin was
the Mickey Mouse stuffed animal that we just saw. Robot Amy is better than no Amy. Thank you, Sunday. Good timing. I'm almost finished transcribing the written statement right now, so I can do a statement analysis on it. Okay.
Was very talkative when I finally took the tablet away around 10 p.m.
Wait, I have to pause here. I have to say something about a couple of things. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I am watching for Robot again, though. But, it seemed like by listening to Leilani, all the kids had tablets. And it also seemed like, which we all use them when we're busy. I'm curious how often they were on the tablets, but also, another thing that she mentioned there I wanted to talk about was him laying in bed babbling. So this, at first, when we first heard this, I had questioned if this was something that was just specific to that night, but I don't think so, because Leilani says he always did that. He wasn't a crier. He would talk himself to sleep. I can hardly hear that. Like, it breaks my heart. I can't imagine being in the courtroom. And then Leilani just seems, hell, she didn't even have emotion when they showed his remains, what they found. I mean, for real. But you hear those little parts of him and how happy he was, right? And I don't know. We go back to that video where she's like talking Zane up, and I'm going to try to start not using the little children's names, honestly, where she starts talking the other two up, and she doesn't really have a lot to say about Quentin except for, oh, my middle child, a middle child. You were always so happy. I don't know. It's just, I enjoy hearing about him, like him talking himself to sleep and things like that. I have a lot of questions about what his life looked like. We know that he did have like a second little family with the babysitter. But also, as I enjoy hearing about that stuff, I'm become furious with the situation and with her reaction to it. So this came up actually at court today. The defense talked about having Night MK, having the media redact the kids' names and their birth dates, like any identifying information. In the opening statements, their names were part of the presentation. We looked at them. I showed you guys yesterday, and I know most of you watched, how they had everyone's faces. Now, the kids only Quentin's had an actual picture. However, they still had the other two's names. I just think the prosecutor was right at this point. After all of that, it's out there, but it's unfortunate. Z and S. I'm gonna try, but and like I didn't even think about it until after I said it. So I have middle child syndrome. That part stung. Yeah. Let me see, because Shay typed out what it said. Let's see, because I'm going to read it to you. She had a quote, I think she grabbed from an article, which they said little, but I heard middle. What did you guys hear with that? Little or middle? Okay. And Quentin, you are ... a little child. I heard a middle child. You're so happy all the time. You smile all the time. I wish I could see the kind of man you could be too. It's like, dang, that even stings. Hey, Nanya, they want to prevent, they still have a whole life to live. And it was the defense who brought it up. And I think it would have been a lot easier to do if they would have brought it up a little later, Nanya, I meant to say hi. I think I did, but also I might have just read it in my head. So I wonder if he ever got to feel loved or loved on. When I saw Pointer Lover say the babysitter, I think so, because I even think Billy Joe did. In one of the articles I was looking at today, it had some of those photos with her and Quentin, and they did seem so natural in these photos, like kind of loving on each other and stuff. Maybe we'll look at that. Let's finish listening to this, though, because I want you to see what she said to these investigators while she was sitting at the table alone, not during her interview. It just,
It didn't.
Can't believe she even said that. I really have to think. I don't know what the hell she was thinking. And if you guys saw it, let me know in the comments. If not, you'll see it in a second.
And take 20 minutes before he was fast asleep. During this time, Danny was cleaning up from dinner, doing laundry, and laying on the bed with Sky. After Quentin fell asleep and Zane fell asleep, which was no later than 10:25 p.m., Danny and I started to get into it. And because I had just got my wisdom teeth removed earlier that day, I was already aggravated because my mouth hurt. So I decided to take a quick drive to 204 to pay back $20 we owed on the front to a guy named Fred. Before I even left the house, I checked all three kids. All three of them were fast asleep.
Okay.
I left at 10:33 p.m. Arrived at 204 at 10:44 p.m. and at 10:54 p.m. I then checked on all the kids one more time before I fell in bed with Daniel. I attempted to get some rest, but my mouth was keeping me awake.
Don't forget, she says herself, she had an argument with Amy. I feel like that's what it all boils down to. Honestly, that's what the video, in my opinion, was all about, the emotional breakdown video.
I stay in bed for about 2 hours until...
Lord have mercy. It's just the internet. I'm going to have to switch. I think that we will just switch. Okay, so do me just a favor. Might be able to hear me now, but even if you can, I'm still going to switch it up because this ain't working for me. Samus, I think I'll be fine in just like 30 seconds. 1 sec. Hopefully it doesn't break up, and I'm so sorry, you guys. Honestly, I'm so mad. It makes me not want to stream at all. Honestly, it really does. It took me like 2 days to upload an hour-long video. It's just pissing me off. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me now. And hopefully it's probably still going to be choppy. It does. It just, it's very infuriating. Okay, let's continue listening though.
1 a.m. until I finally had enough of my mouth hurting. So I got up, called Circle K to see if they had any Orajel, and they didn't. So I got in contact with a old coworker of mine named Misty, and she did have Orajel. So I left the house at 1:13 a.m., rode up to the Chevron at the end of Buckholter, and got some Orajel. When I got back home again, it was 1:25 a.m. I went to the bathroom as soon as I got home and applied the Orajel.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, because like I said, you put Orajel on a tooth that's just been pulled. That is so infuriating that she even thought that was believable. And in her video, even when she talks about like, oh, I only went on Buckholter Road. It was just my road. You know, I was gone 12 minutes. She repeats that over and over again because obviously she looked at her Life 360, which I have to think it is interesting they even had Life 360 because they didn't have kids that were driving, you know, or anything like that. Was it just for her to like keep an eye on Danny? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But for me, when I first downloaded it, it was because my oldest was doing like a field trip really far away. I guess like some people probably have it just with regular family members to like make sure everybody's safe, but I don't know. Okay.
I then checked on all the kids again, and they were all perfectly fine. Zane was asleep in his little race car bed with his tablet on his chest. Quentin was asleep in his playpen with his cup and Mickey Mouse stuffed animal. I moved his hair out of his face, and little man moved a little, grabbed his blanket, snuggled up to it.
Yeah.
Sky was asleep on the couch, and Jamie was laying on the bed. I then crawl back into bed after double checking the locks on the door at probably around 1:45 a.m. I go to sleep. When I wake up, it's 8:59 a.m.
And y'all, I've left my notes and everything. I ain't got nothing, but that reminds me of something else we learned today. I know this was in my notes. They had ADT, and her brother, they called him Joe. I need to go back to the family tree. But her brother did an interview. This detective actually went and got him. And hold on, let me go back to this. But the door wasn't open. It didn't open until 9:22. I know that we have her family tree, and of course I know Paul, and then I know there's Angie, a couple others, but I can't think of their name off the top of my head. But I know in the interview they called him Joe. Now I don't know if that's short for something else or what, but run, girl. Why you let it stream for a second? Oh my God. I really want a cigarette as well. And I'm so stressed out now. I don't know
On the dot.
either.
The very first thing I noticed was my door was open. I immediately closed the door and checked to make sure all the kids were there, but they weren't. Zane was, Sky was, but Quentin wasn't. I start to panic. I searched the whole house, top to bottom, inside and out, and my baby was nowhere to be found. I called Danny because he went to work at 6 a.m., asked if he'd seen Quentin or took him to the babysitter. He said no, that Quentin was in his playpen when he left and that the door was closed, not opened. So at 9:17 a.m., and I called 911 to report my son missing. After I called 911, I called Michelle, the babysitter, to urgently come help me look. Danny was at work when I called him and came straight home. He was home before the cops arrived, All I could keep saying was, I need my baby. Where is my baby? Note, please, please do everything possible to bring my little man, my monkey, my Quentin home to me, please.
Oh my God. And note, when you guys, note, you're supposed to have this written statement and you leave a little extra note at the bottom for investigators. Do you think I don't know. So I think it's possible, but I don't. So you know how when we watched Kayla Montgomery, it was quite obvious that she was medicated. In my opinion, with Leilani, I don't necessarily feel that way, but I don't know. Okay, now we're going to skip forward to when she's talking to investigators. When she's not being interviewed.
Stamp on this is 2101.
So 9 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to keep asking you.
I know.
And who's she talking to?
I believe she's talking to Officer Carlson and Agent Solomon.
Okay, Savannah Solomon?
Yes.
Yeah. And what are we going to hear her say, more or less?
She's talking about her anger issues and how she can snap into anger
I haven't
very quickly.
had that thought yet.
And I'll publish this now, Your Honor.
The only thing that makes me question if she is medicated, right as we're about to listen, I pause. I'm such a jerk. The only thing that makes me question is the lack of emotion. But I don't think that necessarily means that she's medicated at all. I just think if she was, it could be a symptom of that.
Days that something so little just might happen. Just like a trigger. And it's not. It was almost like I'm a completely different person. The way I talk, the way I move, the way I look at you, everything, even my tone of voice. Feel that happening?
I snap. It's almost like I'm a different person. The way I walk, the way I talk, the way I look at you. I'm going to rewind that because I paused a few seconds in. This.
It was almost like I'm a complete. There are days that I wake up, or days that something so little just might happen. Just like a trigger. And it's not. It was almost like I'm a completely different person. The way I talk, the way I move, the way I look at you, everything, even my tone of voice. Feel that happening? You know? Whereas, like, when it happens, I have finally reached a certain level of anger or stress or whatever it might be at that moment that I just, it's like a switch. Yeah. I don't even know.
A certain level of anger or stress, just like a switch. What in the world would possess her to have this conversation in this moment? I just.
Realize it until after I've calmed down that I just seriously tripped on you and treated you like that for no reason. You know, and then I'm left apologizing to everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm crazy. I don't know what happened. I don't even know why I did that. And half the time when it happens or randomly happens like that, and it's not like a slowly transition or whatever, it's it's because I don't even know how to explain it.
I thought that too, Little Red. I thought it, and I don't think that's.
If I'm doing pretty good throughout the day and I've had a good day overall, and then something might trigger, it's slower. Okay. I can feel it. I can feel myself changing the way I talk, the way I think, the opinions I have.
So some days, so remember just now she said she doesn't notice when it happens, but some days it happens slower and she can feel it coming on. She's talking to police, but not the ones that were interviewing her. You know, the woman on the stand was like, I think this officer and this officer. She's not even, I don't think, 100% certain. Is she coming down? Asking because I genuinely don't know what that looks like. I don't think so. Coming down is just like a miserable feeling. It's very uncomfortable and probably would talk less. I wondered if she was high. Like, there are other parts of, I can't, if it was, because we watched the 2 interviews today, but I did have my moments where I questioned, was she using at that moment? I don't think so, Ange. I don't know because it was unclicked for the internet. I'm so sorry. I am not muted though. I'm back. She could have been. I mean, if she was withdrawing, it would look intense. I have seen. So, yeah. Usually when people are very talkative and they're sharing stuff that they shouldn't be sharing, you're feeling pretty good. You know what I mean? Hey, Past. Sorry about that, you guys. Definitely was not muted. I don't know if I unclicked that or or what, but when I looked, the internet button was unclicked. So I think what it was is it wasn't connected to connect automatic or click like set on the setting to automatically connect or reconnect if something happens. And that's what happened. Okay, but we didn't miss anything. It was just me talking when it happened. Let's keep listening to this because it continues.
Everything, you can feel the difference.
Hey,
But when
Amber.
it happens, like a day like today, with the amount of stuff going on and stress and emotion or whatever, that's just not. Like,
To me, this stood out to me almost more than anything today. There is another moment where, you know, it's first when Detective Lemons first gets on the stand. Now I'm questioning myself if that's even her name, and I don't have my notes. But I'm pretty sure that it is. But when she first gets on the stand and they talk about the house smelled like vomit when she got there, and they show a clip from the body cam, and you see, and I don't even think it's just the house necessarily, because in this clip she's standing directly over the playpen and she says it smells like vomit. Now I know Melissa and Shay talked about this, and if you guys missed it, thank you, Deets. If you guys missed it, you don't want to miss that, you might want to go back and listen to it. Thank you, Bendy. Good to see you. And they showed pictures and stuff today of the pillow in the playpen, and you know, it appears to have vomit on it. Now I'm just going to wait for more testing and for the people that give the results of that kind of stuff. I'm not going to give my opinions. I know, you know, the house was a wreck. There were stains everywhere. There were stains all over the playpen. I don't know. And I'm not an expert, but they did say that it didn't appear to be blood. It like the color wasn't right. So we're going to wait for the results to come in and kind of see what they have to say about that. But I wouldn't let my dog sleep in a bed that dirty. I agree, Allie. Let's wait for forensics. Yeah. Because you look at those pictures and many things could appear to be alarming. However, it was filthy. And not only that, kids are messy. You know, you're constantly, if you have carpet, you're constantly cleaning up stains and messes if you're allowing any kind of liquids on the carpet at all. God, I feel sorry for the replay viewers with all the internet issues. It's so frustrating. Thank you guys for being just so awesome and understanding. I wondered that too, madam. Okay, let's hear this just one more time. But this is one of the most haunting parts. Actually, it makes me think of this moment we listened to yesterday. This is a phone call, just quick phone call between Danny and Leilani. And actually, she talks a little more about I guess she was a very angry person, and she would snap and freak out on all of them. That's really the picture that's kind of being painted at this point. Oh, thank you. Smile more, please. I love you guys back, and I appreciate that. Blood usually turns a brownish color unless it is fresh. Yeah, and it seemed like, I thought, because I remember we had heard that he had spaghetti the night before. And if you guys remember, there were some photos that came out from the babysitter where he's even like covered in spaghetti sauce. And there were so many rumors surrounding like all that stuff. And I don't want to like flame that. That's why I say we need to wait for the forensics, for the results to come in to really have the discussion. There's like, it could have been spaghetti sauce. It's just dirty. You know, it kind of looks in one place. Like you could imagine two little hands grabbing the edge of the playpen. So many rumors. It was horrible. Oh my gosh. I look forward to knowing the facts of that situation too. You know, I think, remember Billy Joe went to the babysitter's house? I think it was just very intense for all of those directly involved. Hello. It would be anyways. Not to mention you have all these people outside your house acting a damn fool, playing screaming babies and shit. Just the most twisted. It was awful. And then, you know, the babysitters doing interviews. I could imagine that would make BJ feel some type of way, regardless of anything else. Yes, to me, the marks on the side looked like the result of Cheeto hands. Yeah, she did. I'm going to read an article in a second, but while we're talking about this moment in the interview where she talks to these random officers, she has this moment of talking about how she snaps and gets so angry. Just really still puzzles me that she even had the conversation. This came out yesterday, so let's go back to this for just a second. It's 30 seconds.
About the effect that cocaine has on her. It's not just fun for her. You'll hear her say that it makes her angry and impulsive.
I become angry and impulsive when I'm on.
So Danny was working with police and allowing them to record his calls with Leilani. And she says, I will never touch cocaine again. I'm angry and impulsive on it. Like I said, it's painting this picture that, you know, we have dysfunction. Every family has a level of dysfunction. We've talked about that 1,000 times, but lots of dysfunction here, and then drugs and anger issues. You know, it looked like SpaghettiOs to me. I thought it could look like spaghetti sauce too, Lisa. Natasha said, didn't look like Cheeto hands to me. It is weird in itself. I mean, was he eating in there? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I have to think, you know, Billy's away for long periods of time. Leilani and Danny were using. I've said this before, but if you're new to my channel, like, you know, I apologize ahead of time if I offend somebody. I just don't. And as an addict in recovery, let me just say that first. I just don't think that people who are doing drugs like that, you know, marijuana, or you're prescribed something, that's a little different as long as you're not abusing it. If you're on hard drugs, you have no business having small children. You just don't. Because guess what? You don't put anything, the first thing, what comes first in your life is the drugs, period, whether you want it to or not. You know, you're not cleaning up, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not taking care of them. That's just the way it is. So, okay, let me go back to this after we hear that call part and just play this one more time. And then I want to read this. I want to go back in time for a second with you guys. Wait, it says I'm going to restart the screen share over for a second. I just don't think, I think that there are plenty of people who are addicts who are able to be functional or whatever. I'm not saying that. And I still think they're completely capable of love. I just think that if you're making the decision to do heroin, do cocaine, do any kind of, even to do it at all, that there tells me that your judgment, you really don't need to have small children. They require too much, and it's dangerous, and it could end bad in so many different ways. And especially if you're young, you have mental health issues, and the drugs would intensify that for anybody, even someone who does not have mental health issues. Let me be clear about this. When you're doing those kinds of drugs, they will make you think you do. You will have mood swings. You will have sudden sadness or deep sadness. You will have extreme happiness at times, overconfident at times. You're going to have like the most intense moods and emotions that you can have. Okay. So let's just hear part of this, or hear this, because it's really not that long. One more time. I'm just blown away that this even took place, honestly. This conversation.
The way I look at you, everything, even my tone of voice.
Dude, can you guys hear it? Let me know.
There are days that I wake up, or days that something so little just might happen. Just like a trigger. And it's not. It was almost like I'm completely different. You know? But like normally when it happens, I have finally reached a certain anger, a certain level of anger or stress or whatever it might be at that moment that I just like a switch. Yeah. I don't even realize it until after I've calmed down that I just seriously tripped on you and treated you like that for a reason. You know, and then I'm left apologizing to everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm crazy. I don't know what happened. I don't even know why I did that. And half the time when it happens or randomly happens like that, and it's not like the slowly transition or whatever, it's because
she doesn't even realize it until after she calms down, and then she's left apologizing. I'm crazy. I don't know what happened. So she was using all kinds of stuff, Rando, apparently. First, she says only marijuana. Then, she's called out for getting Percocets for somebody, or for texting about getting Percocets. It is eerie, unsupervised maniacs. It really is. So then they say, hey, we see your messages. You're talking about getting Percocets. Those aren't for me. Then eventually she admits that they were. And then eventually she says her memory must have been bad because of all the cocaine she was doing. She was doing line after line, going out. Like once she's pinned against the wall, then it comes out that she's using like that. Oh, there's no excuse, Natasha. Now, I agree with you completely. And I put that in, I think it was Deet's chat the other day. And I thought after I typed it, because I said something, I said, that's not an excuse. I don't think that we're ever trying to excuse this stuff. I think that we're trying to understand why or how. And not only that, we become invested for other reasons. You might see yourself in a case, and that makes you follow it. There's just different reasons. It might be local to you. So then you pay a little closer attention. So, but yeah, no excuse whatsoever. I think we just try to find, like, we want to know why, and we become invested for one reason or another. Okay, so now let me grab something. Hold on one second. Okay, so I think Shay sent this to me. I don't remember. Shay, Bikram's, Melissa, Tess, probably somewhere in there, but I think it was Shay. Let's look at this. That's how I get with Madeline's case. Yeah, I understand. Some for me just get me emotionally, certain ones. And then, not that they all don't matter, they do, but it's just, No, Natasha, you're fine. Yeah. For me, I'm trying to understand what happened. trying to understand how someone could do that, to be able to see the signs in others. Yeah, like with Letitia, that's something I've thought about many times. Like, my God, her behavior was so off, but I think people really didn't realize it because they didn't want to pay close enough attention. She was such a pain in the ass. They would give in to her, give her weight, like, in my opinion. They all matter. Some just hit harder than others. Okay. I don't think, wait, did they ask her if she had anger management issues? I don't see Lisa's comment. Do you mean right before? Oh, yeah. So it was, when she wasn't being interviewed, she was just waiting and I guess having small talk. Well, no, they do say she's just chit chatting, waiting. I would also love to know more. Like, I wish we could see it with more context, but regardless, the fact that I don't know, it's bizarre. All of it's bizarre. It's the thing that I think stood out to me the most today, besides some of the pictures were pretty hard to see, like his little pillow. But okay, so this takes us back a little bit. Search continues for Chatham County toddler last seen Wednesday morning. Now, the reason that we started looking at this is because, like I said to you earlier, I was curious how long had Billy Joe had custody, which Leilani later explains it hadn't even been a year yet. She also says, by the way, that it was basically, I'm curious what you guys think about this. It was basically just, I'm having to say however I remember things now on the top of my head, but it was basically just paper. It wasn't, she was the one there all the time, Billy Joe was gone, but she was the one there. She says, I was the one laying out their clothes, laying out their socks, giving them baths. It was just paper. But in the very beginning of the interview, it was, I signed my rights over because I wanted to become a better person. I wanted to do better. I wanted to get my life together. But then later on, it's just paper. It wasn't even custody, schmustody. Like, who cares? That kind of thing. Just my thoughts, Sunday says. Just my thoughts. She didn't do that to all the babies, just Quentin. So if it's mental or Ruggs, why not the others too? Well, makes you wonder. This happened at 1 a.m. What brought this on? What did he wake up? I wondered if maybe she woke him up by going like outside. She said that she kept doing rails, going outside to smoke, smoking blunts, doing another line. I can't remember how she said it, but basically that she was doing that over and over. And I wondered if maybe she woke him up. Oh, another thing. At the beginning of one of the interviews, she says, no, Quentin was in his bed. He was knocked out. The words that she used just hit me so weird sometimes. Like, I didn't like that. I know it probably means nothing. We say that all the time. Like, yeah, he was knocked out hard, but I just didn't like that. Also, when she's, like I told you guys earlier, Paul and Danny were a huge focus of that first interview. They really were trying to ask her, could they be involved? This is a point that should be made in trials, that they did exhaust other options. They didn't just hyper focus on her. And apparently Danny, her words, was too scared to even pop the kids. Her words. So I don't really know, like, he was too scared to even pop the kids. I guess to whip them. Didn't like that either. Sometimes her vocabulary hits me weird. And I was not muted again. Who pops a baby? Yeah, I didn't like that. Nope, me no like you knocked it. I didn't like that either, yeah. Sorry, you guys. There are some things that we will never know. You know, one thing about trials, we learn a lot that is like we've talked about in depth many times. Like in other cases where other people were being blamed, you go to trial, you learn all this that doesn't, there's not even an option for other people to be blamed. It wouldn't even make sense with all the evidence. You'll be able to close little holes like that, but we'll never know all the answers, you know, and that's hard. Like with Letitia, we don't know what happened with that candle. Like what happened and why are there 3 different pieces of carpet and why was a sock in the candle in the trash? And I have so many questions like that I just will never know. But she does use weird turns of phrase. Yes. Thank you. Because like, yeah, maybe I'm a little dramatic sometimes, but just like with the knocked out thing. Yeah, no. I didn't like that. Now, I saw Grain say, why do they say ordinary household item? Did they find the item? So I don't know if I've seen it described as that, but that's interesting. I'm wondering that too, because how else would they know blunt force trauma? This is something that I talked to Shay and Melissa about some today. Like, you know, because of the condition of his remains, I don't think that his injuries would be like super easily identified, I guess you could say. Like I just think that they wouldn't know if that was from the process of going to the landfill or what happened to him, unless they found an item with some sort of evidence on it or something like that. And in that case, then that would make sense with what you say, Grain. Wait, what? Without me? Yes. Yes, I'm sorry. It was just a text thing sharing pictures of the trial. Shay sent for Melissa and I a bunch of pictures, which thank you so much, Shay. I'm sorry, Woofy. Why was the candle the only consistent part to her story? I love you. In these interviews, she talks about Quentin like she doesn't really know him. Oh, have a good night. Be kind, be humble. Okay. I don't see why they would state that unless they were fairly certain they knew what it was. I agree with you. Now, like I said, I don't know that I've heard it described as that, but I certainly haven't seen everything and I'm forgetting a lot. Like my memory, it's been a long time since I've heard some of this stuff. Yeah, Kimberly, I would assume so. If there has to be something that led them to determining blunt force trauma, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm just a regular person. I don't know. I could be wrong. Like, I don't, obviously, I'm not going to know as much as someone who does this all the time, who's a judge, who is a lawyer, something like that. But I feel like, yeah, you guys know what I mean. I feel like using those specific words, they have to have more. And I do think we'll hear about whatever they have. We don't always get all the evidence. Don't get me wrong. Of course, they can't present every single little thing they've learned along the way. However, most of it we will, and especially the important stuff. When blunt force trauma occurs, there's evidence left behind even on skeletal remains. Well, I know that, and they can tell it happened when the person was alive. Right, but I don't know how much they have of, I know we got to see some, this is hard to talk about, you guys. I'm sorry, but unfortunately, during the opening statements, we got to see part of his skull. I don't know what else they found, and we have to wait for the medical examiner's testimony to kind of learn more about that. But I guess we'll have to see. Maybe they found something in the house. I think maybe so. Okay. Now, hopefully y'all can hear me. I'm actually going to wait a second before I look at this, and then I'm going to let you guys go. God, Starlink, please come tomorrow. For real. I wonder if it's going to be better. Watch it come and you still can't freaking hear me. That's literally my luck. That's how it's going to go down. We hear you. Okay. Hey, Roro. But for real, because I have two kinds of internet. My dad has one and a different booster. They've been working on the fiber. It's still not working. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm destined to just have shitty ass service and drive y'all insane. Well, that's all right though. At least you're still here through the insanity. But okay. So I wanted to look at this regarding, like I said, what got me looking at it was how long had Billy Joe had custody of the boys? So the family is still holding on to hope that their 1-year-old child will be found. This was published October the 6th. So one day in, okay? This is a very fluid situation. All things are possible. We don't have any concrete belief in any one theory or any one thing. So we are very concerned about Quentin. We are hoping we can find him safe and bring him home to his parents. They list what he was wearing. The last person to see him, the mother's boyfriend was the last person to see him around 6 a.m. And remember, we heard that he saw him on his way out the door to work. I don't know if we just heard that in an interview or just from like these articles, but I remember thinking that Danny saw him when he went to work or thought he did. Now, this was interesting. This caught my attention earlier. He has been out before, so that is why yesterday I thought for sure when they had texted and got in touch with me that he would show up somewhere around here. I never knew the search would last this long. My gut tells me something is very wrong, but my heart and we are praying. What? My gut tells me something is very wrong, but my heart and we are praying, hoping God will intervene and he's okay. From the babysitter. So I don't know if I ever knew this, that he had gotten out before. Let me know if you remember that. Oh, Trulia. Thank you. I appreciate it. I ain't going anywhere either. Even though it does make me want to just not freaking stream, because what's the point when you're like driving people insane and they can't hear what you're saying? It is so annoying to like try to listen to something like that. So yes, I remember the babysitter saying it on an interview. Okay. I did not remember that. Yes, had heard it before. Playing in the ditches. Yep, it was said. I remember babysitter said they had gotten out around the pool. That actually kind of rings a bell to me, Trulia. It's a short drive. Okay, so everybody here is concerned. Everybody is coming here. We wanted to jump in the search as soon as they got here, but they still had the dogs out, and we didn't want to throw more traces out there for them to try to throw their scent off. But as soon as that was over, we went up there. We all took a trip down Girard. This is Tyler Edenfield from Savannah, just a person helping search, and he goes on about that. Grandmother says mom was served eviction notice. Just a week before this, Leilani and Danny got an eviction notice. The grandmother of missing toddler Quentin Simon is hopeful he will be found safe, but as more than 24 hours has passed since he was last seen, she says she cannot stop thinking the worst has happened. I have never heard this phone interview. Let me know if you have, because I remember like one day in, she does the interview with the local news with her husband standing next to her. We just watched it like last week, and she talks about her daughter being a liar and how she wants to believe her. She's been doing good, but sometimes she just can't believe anything she says. This is a phone interview she did over the phone with the local news where she says, quote, "My mind has thought the worst and it's prayed for the best. I couldn't imagine that she would hurt one of her kids, but I can't say the thought hasn't gone through my mind 100,000 times." What? Like, I just reading this today that I couldn't believe that. I couldn't imagine she would hurt one of her kids, but I can't say the thought hasn't gone through my mind 100,000 times. So you've thought about Leilani hurting the kids 100,000 times? Because like we sit there and go, how could you leave her? Well, and then we give the excuse. And I don't want to jump on BJ or nothing like that. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to be disrespectful to her. I'm just saying this is the honest truth. Like we sit here and question that and we say she never could have dreamed this would have happened. But then she said, I can't say the thought hasn't gone through my mind 100,000 times. I don't know. Just something interesting. All right, I got to get through this because I am so thirsty. So why did she leave the kids with her? I left my drink next door too. Y'all, I just took off. I was out of there quick. I have a theory on the candle incident with Letitia. I would love to hear that, poor Linda. Not just eviction notice. Yes, also she was going to have to pay grandma child support. Yep, Melissa was talking about that earlier. I remember that. Yep, the stepdad said all she does is lie. That they are actually the first people. That's one of the reasons I couldn't understand why people were so hateful towards Billy Joe. It's her mom, but also she was one of the first people that alerted us to the fact that she was dishonest and something was wrong here. She said that to a reporter when she returned home from Chicago. I guess she meant before, truly. Let me read it just one more time and I'll keep going. She says, "My mind has thought the worst and it's prayed for the best. I couldn't imagine that she would hurt one of her kids, but I can't say the thought hasn't gone through my mind 100,000 times." Well, that's a really good point, truly. You know what? She totally could mean since he's been missing. This is one of the photos I was talking about, though, where they just like it does appear like really natural and full of love. But actually, let me just stop the screen share for a second because I think there's a picture of the baby. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to read the next one. It is the most adorable picture of Quentin being a baby. But S, like we said, we'll try to remember to call her. Oh my God, they are precious. She's laying on the couch with her laptop holding the baby. Quentin's beside her to her right. She's got her arm around him and he is full of smiles. Like, it is the most precious little picture of him. I can show you that in a second after I read through this because I can get it past her face. So her 20-month-old grandson was last seen at 6 a.m. on Wednesday. Sorry, just making sure I wasn't out of here. I think she loves him. I just think they're highly dysfunctional. I agree, that girl. I mean, I think she was obviously grieving hard when all this went down. And I can't help but feel really sorry for her, So it talks about the search some and when he was last seen and that kind of stuff. But then it goes on to say, she has custody of 20-month-old Quentin and was working out of town in Illinois when she learned he was missing. She left as soon as she got the call from Quentin's babysitter. When she arrived at her home on Buckhalter Road, so she got the call from the babysitter. What? When she arrived at her home, she said she found crime scene tape and had to stay at a hotel. Police have since taken down the tape. She lives at home with her husband, her daughter, and her daughter's boyfriend and their 3 kids. But I haven't heard from any police, and they were supposed to be here searching this morning. They're not here. I'm praying that's good. Now, before she left for the short-term job in Illinois, she had served her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend with an eviction notice through the courts. She said they would fight all the time. Leilani talks about them fighting today in an interview, and she's like, you know, we never get violent. It's just like she catches herself there for a minute and tries to act like they weren't, like it wouldn't get as chaotic as it appears it did. But the fact that, I don't know, she was evicted, and even hear what she says in this interview. It was just horrible. I was like, look, we have a house that we want to home to and live in peace, but we can't do that with y'all's mess. On September 16th, the sheriff's office mailed the daughter and her boyfriend an eviction notice, so it was September 16th, more than a week ahead. According to the Chatham County court records, Hal said she believes her daughter received the notice last week. She must have just received it a week before, but it went out a few weeks before. I was trying to get back home before she left. Uh-oh. I'm sorry, you guys. I was trying to get back home before she left. Like I said, it was only supposed to be 3 weeks. I didn't want her leaving with the kids because my husband was here and we have the babysitter who takes care of them all the time. So she was going to be gone 3 weeks. That was a Facebook call it was a random one, but yeah, I'm so sorry because the phone is right in the mic. Okay. Let me pull it where you can see the picture. So I don't know. That was just interesting to me. I wanted to go back and, you know, like I said, Leilani eventually says in one of the interviews we heard today, her mom had not yet had custody for a full year. She says it was just paper and she did everything. She was the one, you know, getting their clothes out, cooking for them, bathing them, all that stuff. And yeah, I thought it was interesting then to find out, you know, she's going to be gone for 3 weeks. I do think that's quite a long time, but she's paying a babysitter. I mean, at least she was working. At one point, I thought she was the only one working. We've learned now Leilani was doing some sort of factory work or warehouse work. I forget the way that was described. And we know that Danny was working too. So, oh, Natasha, have a good night. Oh, I just know sometimes I'll be listening to a live and like they must have the phone right at the mic and I got my earbuds in and it will be so damn loud. And I was hoping it didn't do that for y'all. That's all. Night, Natasha. But yeah. Let's see. So now I want to show you this picture and then I'm going to let you go, but I got to get it past the baby's head because Quentin is so precious in this and he just does look so happy. You know, when I was thinking about Leilani describing him as such a happy little boy and full of smiles, and I thought, even in all this, what we call dysfunction and filth and chaos and the drugs and the CPS and the evictions and all that, which really is so sad, I think to him, he was happy. And at that, like, I'm thankful for that at least. And I think that he did have real love. I do. I know that was mentioned in the beginning. I truly do believe that Billy Joe loved him and the babysitter and probably others too. The babysitter's daughter. He's so cute. Pictures of him says he was happy too. Yeah, absolutely. Like this one here. Look at that little smile. My goodness. He just looks happy. And like I don't know, it just seems like a normal family with love and all that stuff. So sad. Final moments were. So confused and scared. Probably him so confused and scared. Amber, I saw some of that earlier. People that I've actually seen it multiple times that kind of commented about he was probably so scared. I hope not. That is I don't know. You know, then you wonder, was he asleep? It was 1 a.m. What started this? I hope he was asleep, even though it just, I don't know. It just makes you wonder what was she thinking? But then again, just prior to this, even if she wasn't actually thinking about taking her own life, even the fact that she was making that video, having that breakdown, shows me that she wasn't stable at all. And these relationship issues would make her lose her shit. We know they had a fight that night, 10 o'clock that night. I don't know. We can kind of see the picture that's being painted. I apologize. I had more that I took notes about, and I don't know. Maybe we'll go over it like at another time if there's anything important. There were also a few photos I wanted to talk about, like the ones from the playpen and all over the house. Let me see if we do this for a second. I'm going to let y'all go, but maybe if I can't believe that was baby cereal in the back of the car. Because I had wondered, was it some sort of like deodorant, like something to make it smell better? Uh-oh. Well, praise Sterling comes tomorrow. Oh my God, I know. I hope so. I ordered it 10 days ago because there was a sale up until the 6th. And it was 1 day before that I got it. So it's been a minute. I thought it was baking soda or carpet freshener. I don't know what happened to my screen share. But we have a couple more days. Oh, Jen, are you still here? Did anything come out about Sarah Boone? Did they get a jury? And Richard Allen, apparently there was DNA that wasn't his on the girls. You truly never know what's going to come out in a trial. You may have your opinion or your idea, and you might be close enough to right. Yeah, it was baby cereal, Jen. You might be close enough to right, but you really don't know. You might be way off. But I love trials because that's when we get the facts. There is none of this bullshit back and forth drama. There's really no I don't know. You know how sometimes when a case is just when they're developing, people will make things seem worse than they are or more dramatic than they are. With the trial, it's really black and white. You're getting the facts. It is what it is. And I love that so much. His DNA is nowhere at the scene. Wow. I wonder how much they tested, though. How far did they get into that? Apparently, the hair in Abby's hand was red, too, and not Alan's. I heard about that. That's crazy. There's been an update in Boone. No jury yet. Motions in the morning. The defense weird. Can never say that. Thursday morning, the state. Okay. And we've got trial dates. I saw Dietz made a post. If you didn't see that, go check it out because Stephen Stearns has one trial that's going to happen in the spring of next year and then one in September. I think it's February. I can't remember exactly, but she has it on her post. 2 posts. Oh my God. You got to stop because I keep thinking it's Dietz. February. Okay. Thank you, B Crumbs. Thank you guys for everything. For real. You guys mean so much to me. Having patience with me because I've been a pain in the ass, like with the internet, but also like just sending me articles or updates or whatever. All of you guys, like many of you anyways. And I really appreciate that, for real. No, you can't change your name. Oh my God, no. I think he might be innocent too, Mayla's mom. I really do. And then hearing about that, you know, the hair, and if his DNA is nowhere at the scene, how much did they test at the scene? Because if they did a lot, you can't tell me he's that good, like that methodical, that careful. I just won't believe that. Oh, thank you, Sunday. I appreciate that. You guys are great. The longer the cases go for an arrest, the more confusing they get. Oh, love you back, Michelle. It is a pain in the ass, and probably any new viewers will be like, fuck this. I mean, I probably would. If you don't, excuse my language, if that offends anybody, but I'm just saying. But that's all right. I'm all right with that. Not that I don't want to grow. I think anybody wants their channel to grow, but also, you know, it's not going to kill me. And I enjoy just hanging out and having the conversations with you guys. There's two of them in here, Roro. Do not be confused. So, yeah, Jen, I think, are you streaming in the morning, Jen? Let me drop some links before we go. Thank you guys for being here. But, yeah, so Jen's been streaming in the mornings, and then Deets did yesterday afternoon. I hope you can do more, and then if you want to, because I enjoyed that. Melissa is doing some recaps. I know Joneson's doing recaps, and then not on this case, but Amber is doing Madeline's case, which we talk a lot about, but many others too. So I'm going to drop hers too. Let me see. I get Melissa. Yes, first Boone's hearing. Oh, okay. What time is her hearing? Did I get Melissa? I don't know whose I've dropped and whose I haven't. So if like I missed one, you guys just can drop it. Hey, Shakes or Fizz. Good to see you. It's been a minute. I'll be stripping in the morning. Stripping. Well, Katie, have fun. Hey, Dead-Eye Danny. Aw, thank you, Steph B. You guys are awesome. For real, though, I just really do enjoy the conversation and kind of the back and forth, having the discussions around this stuff, especially the stuff that really puzzles me, like the fact that anybody would tell police that when what she told him today about being violent and stuff, when you're there for your son's missing, but you've actually done it, but you're trying to hide that from them. I have to do something tonight I forgot about. I have to send money in for the cotton candy machine for fall festival. And I just was reminded. So I'm going to let you guys go. I got some things to do. Are you guys excited for Halloween? I'm so excited because we do this little fall festival at the kids' school, and it's so much fun. And the best part is you get to buy like home baked goods there. And you can play games. Last year I won like donuts and a cake, I think. I bought one and won one. So, but then there's a haunted hallway, and like that's where we do trick or treat. We don't go house to house because the whole parking lot is filled up with cars that are doing trunk or treat, while you have like also different parts of the school that are haunted. There's like, they set up their library with like a book fair, you know, kind of like the bookmobile back in the day, but yeah. So much keeping me off here. I miss you guys. Oh, I miss you too, Shakes or Fizz. I hope you're okay. 20 row. Awesome. Okay. Well, we'll be there. We got to meet at Deets in the morning to watch. I'll be modding and following all the coverage of the channels you listed pretty much. Wait, I know I meant to drop yours, but I don't know because I was getting so sidetracked. I've been up way too long. I really got to go. And look, I'll sit here and say goodbye for like 45 minutes tonight, not just the regular 20, just because no, I can't do that. So I'm going to let you go. Thank you for being here. Have a good night. We will continue having the conversation about everything that comes out during the trial. You know, even if for one reason or another, which Friday night we have a football game, so I probably won't do it Friday night. And I have some other things I want to do on the weekend, like the calls with Jen. But even if we might miss a day, we'll catch up the next time. And yeah, thank you for everything. I appreciate you guys. Check out the channels that I've dropped. If they're I saw Natasha actually tell someone in one of the chats, like if they recommend the channel, it's usually pretty good, and the chat's pretty good too. And I love that because it's so true. We recommend lots of awesome channels here. And yeah, thank you guys for everything. And have a good night. Bye. Sorry, I was trying to read as I was ending. Oh my God. This has been a total shit show. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for being here.